Pizza time. Alrighty. One chapter down. Let's go. This game's chapters seem to be going by a lot longer. But I don't know if the game's going to be shorter. So I can't remember how long it took to get to the festival itself last time. Not sure. Wah! It's Keiichi-kun. Good morning, good morning. Then it was ecstatically waving her arms at me, already brimming with energy. What do you mean good morning? It's already evening. Just say hello or something. But, this is the first time I've seen you today, so I think good morning is alright. Or is right. It's right. I got it. Okay then, good morning it is. Good morning, Rodena. I grabbed Rodena's head and rubbed it with my fuck hiccups. Okay. I grabbed Rodena's head and rubbed it with my hand. She squirmed, reveling in emotion like a cat. Hey, Kei-chan. Sorry about yesterday. I left without telling you. Ah, no, it's my fault. Sorry for making you wait so long. Are you talking about setting up for the festival yesterday? How was it, Keiichi-kun? Did you do your job properly? The slight muscle pain throughout my body and my sluggish movements were already obvious. I did great. I'm pretty worn out now, though. I grinned dryly and the three of us break out into laughter. Where's Satoko and Rika-chan? Are we meeting up with them at the festival? Yep. Rika-chan has actually been there since yesterday because she has such an important job. I think Satoko-chan stayed with her, so they're already at the shrine. Right, I just remembered. Today was Rika-chan's big performance. She's been practicing especially hard for this day. As a friend, I need to make sure I went and cheered her on. Alright, let's go right away. Yeah! Not gonna lie, I don't know why the hell I'm so sleepy right now. Ugh. I've been sleeping a lot lately with the past couple of days. Certainly it is a mess, but whatever. As we get closer to the shrine, we started passing by more people and seeing a lot of parked cars. It began to get noisier too. I thought I could hear something like a Bond dance song. Like a bonfire dance song? Whatever. Without being able to restrain my impatience, I dashed up to the entire flight of stone stairs. Keiichi-kun, you're going too fast. Wait for me! Man, Kei-chan, you're such a little kid. Whoa! The shrine grounds, they were packed with people. It's a festival if I ever saw one. Wow, they went all out this year too. Amazing! Amazing! They're coming from Hinamizawa. Huh? The bedridden old man from Kimiyoshi branch family is here too. I think that old guy went home from Watanagashi last year and stayed in bed ever since. Yeah, there were a lot of villagers here that I didn't really know. They must have all been pouring in just for today. Oh, it's Satoko-chan. Hey! Oh, if it isn't everyone. Yes, hello to you all. Yo, Satoko. There's a lot of people today. Don't get lost in the crowd, okay? Who do you think you're talking to? Satoko too seems somehow energetic. Of course in the same way. Huh? Where's Rika-chan? She still has free time, doesn't she? Rika was giving her respects to the mayor and other important people. She saw come before long. I see. Rika-chan is the shrine maiden for today's festival after all. It's probably a pain for her to say hello to all the elders. It really is a pain. Hello everyone. Oh, Rika-chan! I want to take you home! Rika-chan wore an immaculate shrine maiden outfit that looked fresh off the shelf. It was a perfect fit for her somehow mystical appearance. How does it fit? It's not too long, is it? My grandma gave me some safety pins just in case the sleeves are too long. It's alright. It really is comfortable. As she spoke, she began to do some twists and stretches. It's great, it's so cute! Oh! There was approximately one person here getting a nosebleed from watching Rena-chan move. Keiichi-kun, don't you think she's cute? Don't you? If you don't, then she'll be all mine, and I'll take her home with me! I think she's really cute. Totally cool. Not that I want to pretend to be her big brother or dad and take pictures with her. If we take pictures from two different places and make it stereoscopic, we can eat, or rather stare at, a real life Rika-chan at our houses whenever we want. Oh, that sounds great! That sounds fantastic! Then his eyes and mine glittered with stars as our nose bled, and we drooled. Rika, you'd best stay away from them. Yes, or I might get locked away in the basement somewhere. Nah, that's gonna happen with me. You look like you're enjoying it though, Rika-chan. Hey, you're being harsh. We all laughed together again. Okay, let's not hang around here. Let's get to the festival. There's not much time left until Rika-chan's big debut. You're right. Great. Let's go, everyone. Yeah! Yo! If it isn't the daughter of Sonozaki. Eat up! Yakisoba is packed full of pork. This year we filled it up as much as we could. We even put fried calamari. Gotcha, old timer. The yakisoba this year looks like quite an achievement. You have squid, too. You put a ton of time into this, didn't you? Wow, it's tasty! It's tasty! Yeah, the squid is delicious, but the aroma is just fantastic. It wonderfully compensates for how soft it tends to be. There's a delightful amount of squid and pork in it too. Yep, not bad at all, I say. Haha. Kei-chan, you sound like you could walk into a cooking program and become the host. Yeah. When I see Keiichi-kun acting like it's so good, like it's so good, it somehow tastes even better. I don't discriminate among delicious food, so anything that I say is tasty has got to be worth trying out, right? Then Keiichi, please give us your opinion of this yakisoba again. I'll do it in 2 words. Whoa. Absolutely scrumptious! If I had a second stomach, I'd buy another one right now. Having heard my 3-star rating, a whole line of people suddenly formed in front of the yakisoba stand. Wow, that's amazing. Kei-chan said it was so good that a little crowd started to form. Not bad. There's nothing to brag about, but I still decided to stick out my chest and put on airs. Mm-hmm. Oh, is that so? Then perhaps I shall try it out. Mister, could I perchance bother you for one, takoyaki? Satoko bought a stick of takoyaki, balls of fried octopus, from the adjacent stand. And after blowing on it, she put one of them into her mouth. To be honest, I really wanted to try yakisoba and takoyaki, but I haven't been able to yet. How is it, Satoko-chan? If you give it a good rating, then Rena will buy it too. Chomp chomp, chew chew, gulp. Now it's time for the Hinamizawa Michelin judge, Satoko Hojo, to give her impressions. Though she was all for it a moment ago, Satoko hesitated to give her thoughts. Hey now, what's the matter? Everyone takes their own and puts it into their mouths. Huh? Rena got gipped. Mine's bad too. There's no octopus in it. This takoyaki vendor. Could this be some sort of summer festival only octopus-free takoyaki stand? An evil takoyaki stand that skimped on the octopus because they figured it would make them good money today. Ah, mine has some. Yeah, it's pretty good considering there's octopus in it. How am I supposed to explain that this octopus-free takoyaki is any good? Everyone wondered about that. Quizzical looks seemed to be drawn equally dubious stares from the people in line. How about this? Takoyaki without any octopus is really healthy. And even people who don't like octopus can eat this delicious takoyaki. After hearing that, several surprised guests left the line. Yeah. It had the exact opposite effect. Alright then, I'll give it a try next. A self-inspired take on takoyaki in which you could clearly taste the simple flavors of the flour, green onions, and pickled ginger. The unaffected taste is bolstered by the absence of octopus. It wasn't half bad, but after hearing the "there's no octopus in it" clause, even more people left the line. Rika-chan, any good comments? You can be honest. 400 yen is just too much for this. Gah! That was too honest. Even more customers leave the line, dealing a lethal blow. There were other takoyaki stands around after all. Oof. Well, I mean, we might not want to be doing this. Hey, Satoko. You started all this, so give us a great big turnaround. I can't do. How do you expect me to lavish praise upon takoyaki without any octopus in it? God, you idiot. Satoko's angry outburst was the finishing blow. The customers are all gone. Huh? The guy is staring at us. Why is that? Why is that? Huh? There's no saving this crowd. Perhaps I, Keiichi Madarabara-sama, will lend a generous hand. Keiichi-kun, you could do it. We want you to save this takoyaki vendor who didn't put any octopus in it. Don't smile as you say something so bitter. Alright, fine. This may be the only chance you'll get to see a pro at work, so watch carefully. I shoved the stick into an octopus-less takoyaki and crammed it into my mouth. As before, there wasn't any octopus in it, but Mion's had some in it. That was the important point. The man who runs the takoyaki stand. He truly loves takoyaki, in every meaning of the word. No, could it even be said that he adores it? Huh? Eh? Everyone gasped in surprise, including the takoyaki vendor glaring at us. This man truly does love takoyaki, and because he loves it, he doesn't want to create half-hearted random ones. Isn't that right? The takoyaki vendor looked down, unsure. Those watching were listening intently, wanting to know why octopus-less takoyaki deserves such a high rating. Keiichi-san, if he really and truly loved takoyaki this much, why did he make takoyaki without octopus at all? Is he not betraying that very takoyaki? You may be right. In one sense, it is a betrayal. However, it is the best possible compromise this man could find. This man is making real takoyaki today, as he always does. However, only one or two of them on each stick are the real ones. Well, you're right. The one I ate had octopus in it. And considering it did actually have it, it didn't taste bad at all, you know? Right. That was a bona fide takoyaki. And as for the other ones, it was the biggest compromise he could make against the biases of the general populace, who all think that there need to be 8 pieces on the stick, or else it's not real takoyaki. Huh? Keiichi-kun, I don't understand what you mean. Why is one of them the real thing, and the other ones are fake? Why? The secret lies in the octopus. Mister, this octopus, it's true Akashi octopus, isn't it? Akashi. In recent years, the number of octopus caught in Akashi has decreased, and their prices have risen drastically. The prices are now so high that you wouldn't think of using them in takoyaki. Then, the man who had been looking down this whole time mumbled, "Yeah, that's right. Akashi octopus is very expensive. But this man absolutely had to have his Akashi octopus. He could have bought much worse quality octopus for cheaper, as much as he wanted, and he would have still been able to fool everyone. There are plenty of other scamming takoyaki vendors who claim they are from Akashi, even though they're not. But this man wouldn't accept it. He wouldn't tell lies. Akashi octopus are supreme. He would never relinquish this one stubborn conviction. This man loved takoyaki. That's why he never lied. Yet, there was one point that he absolutely had to compromise on. What might that be? The number. The popular opinion is that a stick of takoyaki should have 8 pieces on it. Even if it's real Akashi octopus, he couldn't charge 400 yen for just 1 piece, could he? If he didn't have 8 pieces, nobody would buy them. This man wept over it. In order to make just one true piece of takoyaki, he wouldn't ever let himself lie through the other 7. Oh, whoa! The octopus-free takoyaki vendor burst into tears. I gently clapped one of his shoulders. No matter what anyone else says, I will never forget how genuine you are. You, sir, are a true vendor of takoyaki. You are the only one in the world who has the right to call himself that. Everyone give a round of applause! As I embraced the shoulders of this man, shedding his manly tears, those watching delivered a round of applause, moved by my speech. Everyone, I beg of you, please eat some of this true takoyaki vendor's takoyaki. If we don't treasure genuine men like this, then how can we protect the true path of the takoyaki? If nobody else will eat them, then I will eat them all! What? Everyone watching is lining up. Keiichi-kun, you did it! You did it! I'm not gonna lie, that was real fun. I think it's more that they thought Kei-chan's propaganda speech was interesting, rather than that the takoyaki actually looked good. Kei-chan, you could probably sell plain old rocks if you tried. You would go over well at the entrance of Akihabara Station. Rika, I've never heard of this Akihabara. Where is it? Absolutely stunned by my successful pitch, the guy manning the stall next to this one called out to me. Hey, you guys, do that for my sweets too. Great. You all get the gist of it, right? It's your turn this time, Modena. Hell yeah. Okay, I'll do my best. Oh. When apricot sweets are cold, they're very, very good. The apricot is sitting so quietly and nicely on top of the syrup. Oh, it's so cute. I want to take it home. Oh. It looks like she lost herself in this midway through, but the girl giving it such natural praise was itself bringing in some customers. A line was quickly forming behind Rena. Next up is the Okonomiya stand. Satoko, you're up. Well, the crunch of the fried tempura batter mixed with yakisoba is simply to die for. With a huge piece of bacon laid on top, when you bite into it, it all comes flooding out. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Yeah! That's freaking great! Now I want to try some too! Then a huge line formed at my words. What on earth is this? So basically, all these onlookers are just following us around to all the stands. Well, people hear about food from others and then you try it for themselves. It tastes a lot better than it normally would. Ah, so that's it. Even Rika-chan was gorging herself on the food, getting sauce on the bib she'd put on to prevent her shrine maiden outfit from getting dirty. Nice, the other guys are getting into it too. Okay, Kei-chan, which one should I do? Right, Mion, you go over to the stand next to that. Show them the depths of your power. But, hey, huh? But, Kei-chan, the stall next to that is... Whoops. A goldfish scooping stand. A bit out of our element. No, as club president, I won't flee no matter who or what my opponent. Let's get started. I look forward to your splendid performance, Mion-san. The onlookers were also watching Mion with hopeful eyes. Welcome, welcome. Here's your net and bowl. Okay, here we go. The goldfish are energetic today. They really look delicious. Small things like these, you could crunch them down whole. Mutter. Mion, what in the world are you saying? Michan, you eat them? Did you eat the ones you didn't caught last year too? No, I didn't say anything like that. Mion's face went red and she shook it vehemently in denial. Well, I mean, you just said so yourself that they looked really delicious. Yes, you did indeed say so. My sister is omnivorous. She eats anything that she can get into her mouth. If they taste good, then maybe I'll try one next time. No, Riki-chan, don't! You'll get sick! Wait a second. Hey, what the hell? Shion, how long have you been here? Hey, Kei-chan, Mion, everyone, good evening. Where did you come from, Shion? I've been here since the bit with the yakisoba. You were all so loud I found you right away. Jeez. You've got nothing to do with this, so do you? Go somewhere else already. Jeez, Mion, don't treat me so cruelly. Right, Kei-chan? You're okay with me being here, right? She asked, grabbing my arm and pushing her chest into it. Bounce. A fucking sound effect. Keiichi-kun, you're a pervert. Your nose is bleeding. When you squish a jelly donut, the jelly comes out, right? It's the same. This isn't something I have control over. Oh, just make sure your pants stay clean, my guy. Is that right? Then will more come out if I squeeze harder? Oh my fucking god. Oh, squeeze. Shion, her cleavage. It's alright. It's right up against my chest. Drip. Oh my god. Yeah! Shion, what the heck are you trying to do? How vulgar. I seem to have misjudged you. What about my flat chest? Rika-chan clasped onto my other arm too. Rub. A plentiful plump feeling of my left shoulder, and the sour sensation of a young, unripe fruit on my right. What the fuck? Okay. Oh. Oh shit. I'm going lightheaded. Oh. Fuck. I love it. Shit, fuck yeah, I am lightheaded right now, what the hell. Oh, breathe. Oh. Pizza time. Save me. Boom, boom, bang. Shion, Rika-chan, and I, our faces now bruised, fell to the ground, limbs sprawled. Nice job, Rena. Everyone's so dirty. Oh. Rena punched me. It really hurts. Rika, you get what you deserve. Sheesh. Now that Shion was here, the energy around us had increased by 120%. Maximum overdrive! Your friends are so much fun, Mion. I never got bored of them. Or, I never get bored of them. Right. If you weren't here, it would be way more fun, you know. I want to stay with you all, but if I continue seducing Kei-chan, my sister looks like she's literally going to bite my head off. So, I'll retreat for now. I'll be back! See you, Mion. Don't be back. Get the salt, someone. Get the salt! After teasing her older sister so much, Shion ran away into the crowd of people and disappeared. I feel that I have borne witness to a rare side of Mion-san. When Mi-chan is with Shia-chan. When Mi-chan is with Shi-chan, she looks kinda cute. Lena smiled happily, earning her a whack on the forehead, on the head from Mion. Don't say dumb stuff. Let's get to the next stand already. We went about just like that. Really noisy and lively. To the other... Fuck hiccups. To the other stands. We were paying money towards the beginning, but midway through, the guys running the shops thought we were just too funny, and we ended up being able to fool around without paying much more. Damn, y'all played that game well. So, the vigorous sound of a big taiko drum echoed throughout the air. Rika, looks like it's time. Yep, it looks like it. Right, it's just about time for Rika-chan to appear in the offertory dance. Offertory dance. God damn. I'm a little nervous. Believe in yourself. All of your sweat will definitely amount to something, Rika-chan. Mion slapped hard on Rika-chan's back. That's right, you'll do fantastic, Rika. I'll do my best. Yeah, that's the spirit. I balled my head into a fist and raised it into the air. We're rooting for you, Rika-chan! Go for it! Yay! Remember? Go for it! Yay! Rika-chan gave the best smile I'd ever seen, then pivoted her heel, and ran off. Okay, we should get going too. Right, let's go cheer her on. You mustn't. You must keep silent during the performance. I got it. Jeez, I rubbed that hand through her hair. She was worried about her good friend up to the end. Then we'd better hurry. All the good spots will be taken. Come on. Mion ran off and everyone else followed a moment later. A large amount of people had already clustered into the tight space to watch the edifying dance? Edifying? I don't know how to pronounce that. Wow, this is a lot of people. Fuck. Fuck that. I turned around to look at everyone else, but nobody was there. But where did everyone go? They probably got lost among all these people. Finally, I spotted the back of Mion's head on the other side of the crowd. It definitely doesn't look like I can get over there. Well, we got separated, no big deal. We could just meet back up when Rika-chan's dance is over. I gave up on finding the others and wandered around, trying to look for a place where I'd be able to see better. It didn't take long for me to realize I'd have to settle for watching between the heads of the people in front of me, though. Thump. Once again, an even louder taiko drum resounded. This one was to announce the beginning of the dance. I couldn't see very well, but it seemed like Rika-chan had come on stage with the elders, who were in priestly garb. I heard low exhalations of admiration, and the seniors rubbing their prayer beads in gratitude. Everyone's head were in the way, and I couldn't see. It was really frustrating. We should have cut playtime short and come to get spots earlier. After Rika-chan intoned the prayer, she took the festival hoe and walked to the pile of quilts stacked on the altar. That's right. The point of the ceremony was to purify bedding and to hold a memorial service, wasn't it? Then the solemn offertory dance began. She had practiced using a mochi pounding mallet. The awkwardly shaped festival hoe Rika-chan held seemed really heavy. Back and forth, up and down. It was doubtlessly difficult to even lift in the air, but she sweated and weaved, raised and dropped it, again and again. She couldn't just deal with it and do it grudgingly. As a shrine maiden, she needed to retain the dignity and solemnity. Fuck that word. Present at this festival. There must be a ton of pressure on Rika-chan's shoulders right now. Damn. Why am I cheering her on from a place I can barely see her? I'm a friend, so I had to be right up in the best spot rooting for her. Hey, K-chan, over here. Someone tugged lightly on the back of my shirt collar. It was Shion. She beckoned me outside the crowded ring of people. She had a mischievous grin on her face, and I took it as her saying she knew a good place nobody knew of. Shion, what's up? Shh. Just be quiet and come with me. After she told me so, she ran in a big detour around the throng. Man, it's great to have someone who knows the lay of the land here at times like this. I'm impressed though. I nearly lost sight of her right away. No more getting separated from me. I ran after her so I wouldn't be left behind. As I wandered in an anticipation what kind of secret spots Shion had in mind, we left a crowd of people and went around to the back of the shrine grounds. Hey, wait, where are we going? We're getting further and further away. Shh. Just stay quiet and follow me. You'll understand soon. Shion gave me a wink that reminded me of Mion as she said that. No sign of people and not much moonlight. It was dark. We had gotten pretty far away from the crowd of people on the shrine grounds. How are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance from here? I see. There's some high spot around here, isn't there? Like a rooftop or somewhere we can look down at, right? What? Why do we have to climb onto the roof? Well, how else are we going to see Rika-chan's dance? Did you really want to see Rika-chan's dance? K-chan, could it be that your strike zone is really low? I don't think you're understanding each other here. Weren't you going to show me somewhere I could see Rika-chan's dance from easily? What? Who made that promise? Ugh! What's going on? Why me? Why do I always misunderstand Shion? It's my fault? Or is it my fault? Am I just reading the wrong things into it? Then why did you call me the way you called me all the way out here? It's an expression that indicated she wasn't fooling around. Shion pressed her index finger to my lips and said slowly and quietly, "This place is dark, dead, empty spot. You can't see it from the festival grounds. Now, male and female of the same age are all alone together." Ooh. Eh? Could this be... Shion, she's not planning something crazy again, is she? Shh. Look over there. See? Shion whispered, pointing to the dark underbush. Hold up. Change seating. Shion whispered, pointing to the dark underbush. And there we saw two figures, one male and one female. What's that? Is that... We're right at the scene of a rendezvous, of course. See? Look closely. Can you tell who they are? I peered intently into the dark at Shion's suggestion. Oh, it's Tomitake-san and Takano-san. The two of them were clearly breathing quietly, glancing around to make sure nobody knew they were there, as they crouched before the entrance to a wooden storehouse-like building. Wait, Shion. Could this be what you wanted to show me? Kei-chan, you can see Rika-sama's dance any year, but you won't ever get another chance like this, okay? I hadn't thought that the Sonozaki sisters each had their own personalities. Or I had thought. But at times like this, they seemed all too similar. Hey, what's up, what's up? How you doing? I'm going back. Don't call me for something like this again. Ah, if you come now, if you move now, they'll see us. At our noisy argument, Takano-san suddenly turned around. Cool, cool. As you can see, I am playing some Higurashi. Oh, my. Who might that be? We held our breath and tried to wait it out, but it seemed like Takano-san was now acutely aware of our presence. Shion and I exchanged glances, but gave up and climbed out from behind the bush. Well, hello there. The moon sure is beautiful tonight, isn't it? My. If it isn't Shion-chan and Mayabara-kun. Good evening. Yes, the moon certainly is pretty. What's this? Keiichi-kun. Sure are smart, you know that? Having a secret date in a place like this? Then I guess we accidentally interrupted something important. You're the ones who were meeting up secretly. Tomitake-san and Takano-san laughed to themselves, and they got on my nerves for some reason. Wait, so you two weren't having a rendezvous then? Of course we weren't. Though I don't dislike that kind of romance. Unfortunately, this wasn't the location of a rendezvous either of you would want to see. Sorry for not living up to your expectations. Oh woo. If this wasn't a rendezvous, then what are you doing? Tomitake-san, were you messing around with the padlock on the door just now? Huh? After she said that, I looked at the two of them again, and I definitely saw it. They were hunched in front of a warehouse door, fiddling with a pretty heavy-looking padlock. Guess we've been found out, huh? We were trying to break into the warehouse, but don't tell anyone, alright? Don't tell anyone? Are you thieves or something? I demanded unthinkingly, just because of how absently Tomitake-san was grinning. Nah, never. Thieves are people who steal things, right? It's not like we're trying to take anything out of here. I see. Then why are you trying to unlock the door? This is the forbidden storehouse for ritual tools. They say only the Furude family and a mere handful of others are allowed in. Forbidden storehouse? I took a few steps back at that and looked on the entire warehouse. It certainly looked like one, built removed from any signs of people, almost as if in secret. It was filthy, revealing how little it was ever opened. And it was built to be durable, giving it a strange overpowering impression. Now that I looked at it more closely, it was certainly different than normal warehouses. This place, they're called ritual implements. Basically, this is a warehouse where they store such tools used in rituals. Where they store such tools in rituals. Well, more accurately, maybe it's a temple where the implements are enshrined. The ritual hoe Rika-chan is using for the offertory dance was inside here until today. Of course, if anyone but the Furude family enters, they bring impurity into it, so absolutely no one is allowed a single step inside. It's a sanctuary. Shouldn't we absolutely not be coming into a place like this then? However, Takano was wearing a childlike expression, an innocent smile at best, and terribly cruel grin at worst. God damn, I can't speak. Oh. Tales and legends of an interest in them, didn't... Or, I told you I was researching Hinamizawa's folk tales and legends out of an interest in them, didn't I? A lot of the answers to questions I'm curious about are hidden away in here. I've waited all this time until today for this chance. A chance. Everybody's eyes was fixed on the dance at the shrine grounds today. This was the ultimate blind spot. I see. I didn't know you had lock-picking skills, Tomitake-san. That's not too difficult. I mean, I could. Can. I'm gonna go on a little tangent here, but, at a previous job I had, I regularly had to pick the locks at work on the cash registers because, like, sometimes, like, they would just not open up properly for whatever reason. Like, they'd get, like, jammed or something. Like, I don't know exactly why, but, like, I guess, not like the mechanism. I don't know exactly what went wrong, but, they just wouldn't open, like, the locks on them for some reason. So, and sometimes when it happened, it'd be no problem because, like, the manager would have had a key. But then there was sometimes where the manager on duty didn't have the key, and I was like, okay, I'll just pick the lock and unlock it, and there we go, no problem. And I had to do that probably like a handful of times before, like, it eventually, like, just stopped happening. So, yeah. Anyways, story bit aside. Alright. Stop it. I don't want to be doing this, okay? Sorry for taking you along with me, but this was all thanks to you, Jiro-san. I really am grateful. Oh yeah, by the way, it is also totally possible to be picking locks with, like, hairpins and stuff. That's what I used. It's funny because I eventually did buy, like, a lockpicking set, but I had more success with the hairpins than the lockpick set. I honestly found that quite funny. Sheesh. This is the only time, understand, Takina-san? I don't want to be sneaking into places like this. You really are a good person, Jiro-san. Kerklink. Tomisaki-san undid the padlock and placed it to the side. It's open. Thank you. At long last, Takina-san gulped. With an unusually excited air about her, she gave the heavy door a shove. The sharp smell of mold and dust flowed out from the gap in the doors. I had claimed curses didn't exist, but in this situation, I could believe in them. If we went into such a holy place with our shoes on, I felt like we could be punished somehow. How about it? You're accomplices too. You came all the way here, so why not come in and take a tour? It'll be a little field trip to a museum of precious cultural artifacts that conceal the secret history of Hinamizawa. And it's only open today. We're not accomplices or anything. Aren't you interested, though? Come on, let's take a peek, Shion said, predictably linking her arms with mine. But, we definitely shouldn't be doing this. This is a holy warehouse, isn't it? You said ritual implements, right? I feel like we shouldn't go in. I am part of the Sonozaki family, so I have a good guess as to what we'll find in there. But I want you to see it too, Kei-chan. You want to show me something? I thought it was just a ploy, but Shion's eyes looked entirely serious. Of course, she was the sort who could lie with a straight face. Of course, I was an average boy, too. My curiosity was at least twice that of a normal person. Sleeping forbidden treasures, never to leave this warehouse. Chances like this don't come around too often. If I had to choose then, Or if I had to choose then, I'd want to see. Until the locked door is open, though. I don't know about this. If you're not interested, Kei-chan, then you can leave now. I think you'll wonder about it later, though. Tomitake-san spoke after listening to our discussion, himself having sat down on the stairs to take a short rest. Alright, it's time to take a short rest. Everybody roll your hit die. Regain anything that you get back on a short rest and come up with a plan or what y'all gonna do. Damn. No D&D tonight. It's tomorrow instead. Oh man, I just got really sad. I always look forward to D&D. But I have to wait another day. Oh, I hate it when the schedule changes. Kill me. Make it tomorrow already. I'll keep watch here. Go in and check it out with them. I'm not too interested, but it might be pretty interesting for a young guy like you, Keiichi-kun. He said, laughing mischievously. There was no ill will in his laughter. Tomitake-san, do you know what's in here? Kind of. Fuck hiccups. Kind of. Takano-san told me all about it. Must be a pain to have to go along with your companion's unique hobbies, huh? Tomitake-san didn't answer that, only responding with a pained smile. Takano-san had this kind of scary air about her, like she'd drop absolutely everything else for something she had an interest in, and go straight for it, but Tomitake-san, on the other hand, seemed like the gold standard of what a normal person should be. Having him tell me so frankly to go check it out suddenly made the guilt feel lighter. Okay, but just a little bit. If it's not interesting, I'm leaving. You got it. Shion gave me another Mion-like wink. Looks like we're decided. Shall we go inside? Judo-san, we'll leave this to you. Tomitake-san waved his hand to see us off. The inside was pitch black, but Takano-san turned on the battery-powered lantern she'd brought, revealing a pretty cramped front room. It's so dark in here. Everybody take care to not trip over anything. I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman. Keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san smiled spitefully, as if leaving Tomitake-san out of something fun, and began to close the door. Man. Alright, everyone have fun. There was a low, heavy, and loud noise, and we were completely cut off from the outside world and covered in silent darkness. Takano-san's lantern was the only light we had. It'll be fine. It's an outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything. Looks like Takano-san noticed my uneasy expression. I couldn't help but blush a little and avert my gaze. Deeper inside there was a heavy and old but sturdy door with solemn decorations on it. It was the last door sealing away what was within. Strange how it has an antechamber even though it's just a warehouse, isn't it? I believe it's set up this way so that you open the door at a time, or one door at a time, never letting the room with all the tools be seen from the outside. Takano-san explained this, awfully impressed by the construction. But still, it's really dark in here. Huh? That over there, I spotted a circuit breaker hanging from a clump of wiring, clumsily attached to the wall. Oh, here. Isn't this the light switch or something? I flipped the biggest switch I can find. With a click, the pitch-black room was illuminated by an old bare light bulb. Everyone scrunched up their faces at the sudden strobe-like brightness. Don't! Before she even finished, Shion slapped my hand and flipped the switch back. There was another loud click, and the room returned to darkness, with only the lantern for illumination. Ow! You can't, Kei-chan. We stuck in here, remember? If you turn on the light, it might give us away. I'm scolded by Shion fairly harshly. It looked like she was worried about whether someone had heard or had seen them from the momentary light. It's alright. It was only for a moment. Takano-san remained a relaxed adult. It seemed like she was confident she could talk her way out of it if someone did see us. Let's go in. Here we go. There. Even the heavier door opened, and this time, it wasn't just the dust that came out with the air. There was also a nasty smell. One smell was like opening a dust-filled cupboard in the back of a kitchen that hadn't been opened in years. And the other smell, the nasty one, was hard to explain, but it was like the raw odor of a fish market. From how the sound echoed, this room felt far larger than the first. Takano-san held up her lantern and revealed the contents of the expansive room. Whoa. At the back wall of the storehouse, right in front of us was a Buddha-like holy object, standing there looking down at us. I was taken aback by its unseen force, lit up by the slender beam of the lantern. That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, Oyashiro-sama. It's far grander than the one at the shrine, Oyashiro-sama. So this is the spirit protecting Hinamizawa, the one guarding the holy land of Hinamizawa from the impurities of the outside world, and the one delivering punishment after punishment upon those who attempted to sully the land with the damned construction. It looks like there are far more tools stored here than I thought, but this is so sad. None of them have been maintained. How unfortunate that they're in such a state. Even in the dim light, I could see a lot of strange objects lining the walls, ceilings, and shelves. Takano, speaking as if in a trance, was infatuated by the various implements filling the dark room. They weren't very festival-like or traditional, but instead, this was more like the workshop of a blacksmith or a carpenter. There were a lot of large wooden and metal tools packed in here. Putting it bluntly, it was pretty boring stuff. I'd imagine there would have been more artistic things in here from the Heian period. But these are a far cry from being cultural artifacts. My expression betrayed my dashed hopes. They caught on right away. Oh. Is this not interesting for you? I'm not into literature or art, so I can look at the stuff, but I don't really understand its value. Keiichi-kun, you really do look like you don't get it. I guess that's only natural. Takano-san reached into a paper bag she had been holding the whole time, took out a worn scrapbook, and began to flip through it. Then just for you, Keiichi-kun, I'll tell you an old story. It's a common tale in this region. If you go to the library, it would even be on their recommended reading list. Telling stories in such a dark, creepy place? She must have a horror story in mind. Shion's face belied nothing but calm. If she had the same personality as Mion, she'd have found fault with me being scared. I'll endure it for now and pretend to be calm. Okay? Alright, I'll read it. After confirming that I was going to be quiet and listen, she began to speak softly, like a kindergarten teacher reading a picture book. Long, long ago, in a certain village in the mountains, there was a swamp. This swamp was very, very deep. Some even called it bottomless. People said it was connected to the hell, the land of demons. The rumors said that it was deeper than the ocean, and that anyone it swallowed would sink into the underworld, a bottomless swamp. Its name was Onigafuchi. Wait. I thought back to the story I had heard yesterday about the sacrifices sinking into the bottomless swamp. Could it be the swamp she's talking about? So then, the village was Hinamizawa, right? You catch on quickly. That's right. Though it was called Onigafuchi Village at the time. Onigafuchi Village. That's a pretty inauspicious name. It invokes quite the image, doesn't it? I hear that the name was changed in the Meiji period. The name of the swamp connected to hell was called Onigafuchi, which meant the demon's abyss. And the true name of this village, Hinamizawa, was Onigafuchi Village. The villagers belonged to that abyss, or to hell, in other words. They lived their lives worshipping the swamp and said to connect to it. But then, one day, demons began to appear one after the other from deep in the swamp. The villagers feared that hell was overflowing. The demons mercilessly attacked the villagers. They could only watch in fear. They could do no more than hide themselves and tremble. So did someone exterminate them? Unfortunately, there is no Momotaro or Superman in this fairy tale. Then, did they get the whole village together to fight them? Heavens no. The village weren't nearly strong enough to fight on equal terms with the demons. Then, the only recourse would be to flee the village. They couldn't do that either. To the villagers, it was their beloved homeland. It didn't matter how terrifying the demons. They wouldn't have run away so easily. Then, what did they do? Wouldn't they just get wiped out? Unable to fight and unable to run, all they could do was wait for the village to be destroyed. Then, when everyone had lost hope, their god, Oyashiro-sama, descended unto them. I see. So Oyashiro-sama came down from the sky and beat up all the demons then. You're such a boy, Kei-chan. You always jump straight to the using force to resolve things. Shion sighed, a little annoyed. Embarrassed, I held my tongue. The thing about Oyashiro-sama, he wasn't a violent god who would beat them up, like you're saying. He was a kind god, filled with love and benevolence. The strength of Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens couldn't be compared to that of the demons. They didn't even fight. They simply prostrated themselves before his radiant authority. Oyashiro-sama urged them to go back to hell from whence they came, but the demons wept and challenged him, saying they could never return. The world of the demons, too, has harsh commandments. They claimed they had been banished from hell. Demons, who didn't have a place to go to, either in hell or in the human world. Of course they were at fault for attacking the village. They deeply reflected on that and were sorry. As the villagers conversed amongst themselves little by little, they came to pity the demons, and, after talking with everyone in the village, they decided to live alongside them. A lot of fairy tales have them being exterminated or driven away, but you don't often hear one where they live in peace. You're right. Demons are supposed to symbolize all evils. A story where they decide to live together with humans is certainly strange. Huh. When the demons first heard the villagers' invitations, they doubted their ears, but soon burst into tears of joy. The villagers had given them a place to live. It was said that in payment for this good deed, the demons shared their many kinds of powers and secrets with the villagers. Oyashiro-sama was very pleased with this happy exchange. He gave the demons the bodies of humans so that they would be indistinguishable from the villagers. He himself decided to stay on the surface and watch over the everlasting peace between them. A land in which man, demon, and god lived together. I had thought the word demon was a noun meaning evil that needs to be exterminated. A god may have mediated for them, but you don't often hear happy endings like that when both sides live in harmony. Or where both sides live in harmony. I see. I guess it's kind of interesting. Although, the normal fairy tale ends there. It was revised quite a bit during the Edo period into a much longer story. After that, the humans and demons intermixed, and eventually there was no difference between them. So the demons ended up disappearing? No, not at all. Half of them stayed just as they were. The knowledge that the villagers had received from the demons basically made them into something inhuman. What people would call transcendent. They were well aware the power they had was hearsay, and those below worshipped them. They lived out their lives in secrecy. This story is the root of many derivative tales and pieces of fiction. It's the foundation, I mean. The basis. What do you mean by root? She means the part about the villagers having demon blood. What I mean is, all of the legends from around here are based on the premise that the villagers are descended from demons. There was a hint of amusement in Shion's face as she said that. It was like she wanted to say that she too had demon blood in her. Is there any proof though? Maybe it's somehow rooted in historical fact beyond just fairy tales. Oh, Baibara-kun. Then do you believe that demons really did come out of the swamp and breed with humans? Well, it's not that I don't believe it, but when she said demon, she meant the ones from hell, but in ancient Japan, the word wasn't necessarily used to denote only that kind, right? The more well-known use involves the drifting foreigner theory. As the story goes, Westerners who were shipwrecked in nearby seas had such markedly different customs that they were called demons. Japanese people were relatively similar in appearance to other Asians, but everything about those from the West was different. Their physiques, their faces, and their skin color. In Japan, terms like red demon and blue demon evoke images especially of Westerners. Lacking in skin pigments, Westerners would sunburn easily and turn red. Being fair-skinned, I think blood vessels appearing on the skin would look blue too. A handful of accidental aliens would drift into Japan and come under persecution, being called demons. They would flee into the mountains to survive, turn into bandit groups, and attack villages for food and the like. How does that explanation sound? Maybe it's a bit childish. Takano gave me a weird smile when having come up with such an impromptu hypothesis. I unconsciously followed it up with self-deprecation. Still, she didn't smile as if to make fun of me. It's not ridiculous. There are a lot of people who subscribe to the drifting foreigner theory. Even so, nobody actually knows what happened. Were they groups of foreigners who had turned to banditry? Or were they really demons who had come from the bottom of the world? Then, Takano-san, which one do you believe? The truth of the matter aside, I'd rather believe the more fantastic explanation. It's more fun that way, isn't it? Her answer made her sound a wee bit like a romanticist. Here I thought she'd reject unrealistic stories like that. Now then, this is where the fun begins. Takano-san brought an end to her storytelling and waits for a moment as if to tantalize us. Suddenly, Shion looked around as if something had caught her eye. Her head bobbed to and fro like she was making sure nothing had changed. What's wrong, Shion? I'm sorry. Please don't worry about it. Shion pretended as though nothing had happened. Takano-san also made sure nothing had happened, then cleared her throat and broached the next subject. I explained that half the villagers have demon blood. That blood, they actually say it's the blood of the kind of demon that eats people. Man-eating demons? Well, that escalated quickly. That blood still runs through villagers' veins. They say that sometimes the blood awakens from its slumber. I thought the fairy tale had a happy ending, with the humans and demons living in peace, but it began to suddenly change into a brutal, bloody story. Well, they eat people. They say that every decade or so, they can't help but want to feast on human flesh. The villagers can't eat other villagers. So when this happens, it's said that they descended on the human villages and conducted onikakushi. What's an onikakushi? Broadly speaking, it's when a demon kidnaps someone, when a person is demoned away. They say that the villagers of Onikafuchi would overwhelm unfortunate human villagers in order to kidnap sacrifices. Takano-san's explanation was plain and simple, but when I imagined what it must have been like, it was terrifying. They lose their human reason. The villagers turn into real demons en masse. They attack the villagers they loathe in the dirty world of the masses below. And they kill and eat their sacrifices. So they're no different from the demons after all. What did Oyashiro-sama do? Wasn't he supposed to be staying in the village and watching over them? Oyashiro-sama knew about it, of course. Onikakushi isn't indiscriminate. The villagers apparently never kidnapped anyone other than the sacrifices decided upon by their god. In the texts, it's usually 1 or 2 people. A village inhabited by those both human and inhuman. It looks like the heartwarming episode's colors had an inverted, negative film, revealing the painful and ugly truth. So on the night when they raided villages, they would feast on their kidnapped sacrifices, which is why the nights came to be known as Watanagashi. Tonight's festival was Watanagashi. I just couldn't reconcile the fun festival with the horrible tale Takano-san was telling me. Watanagashi, well, wasn't it about giving thanks to the futons we use over the winter or something? Kei-chan, well, Wata has another meaning, you know. It means entrails. Shion, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Entrails? Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Like fish guts. Wait, what? Like a jigsaw puzzle, the fun times I had today, and Takano-san's grotesque tale clicked together in my mind. Watanagashi, so. Gut spilling. I didn't think saying that could ever feel so nauseating. Yes. It's as you imagine, Mayabara-kun. Right now, the Watanagashi Festival might just be a somewhat early summer festival occurring every June. But it used to be different. It used to be a ghastly cannibalistic feast, held on the night of the villagers who collected their unfortunate dinner. That can't be true! I had no real reason to say that, but I couldn't help it. Mayabara-kun, you said that Watanagashi is a ritual about purifying futons, right? What do you think the futons filled with cotton with wata represent? Futons are futons. They're beds. They're things for sleeping in. What else could they possibly represent? I was rattling on, desperately attempting to deny the horrible festival that Takano-san was describing. Deep down, however, I found myself understanding all too well what she meant. Futons, stuffed with cotton. If the cotton represented entrails in both pronunciation and meaning, then entrailed-filled futons would have to be humans. Why don't you think back to the offertory dance Rika-chan performed? Do you know what she was doing up there? No, I don't. I didn't even watch the whole thing anyway. Shh. Kei-chan, you're getting too worked up. Shion grabbed one of my ears, reminding me that this wasn't somewhere I should raise my voice. Even so, I still can't suppress this agitation I feel. Rika-chan was carrying a festival hoe. You've probably realized it already, but that's not a hoe for plowing fields. It's a tool for dissecting human bodies. I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I had left. When I told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I had seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with that hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out, one bit at a time, and set it afloat. That's the kind of ritual it was. Broadly speaking, it was quite the bombastic ceremony, where they'd rip out the guts and throw them into the basin. And then the ritual was over. It's thought that afterwards the villagers, each with a different role, dismantled the flesh piece by piece and feasted upon it. At Takano-san's strangely happy giggle, I felt, for some reason, violent displeasure. I'm not gonna lie, I like this. I'm a fan. Rika-chan, every day during our lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet to the schoolyard, and she'd work so hard, sweating bullets, to practice for the offertory dance she had done today. All that effort, all that work. Takano-san disgraced it, even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Takano-san, I think you should choose your words more carefully. Kei-chan's pretty naive, so please don't tease him so much. A moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware of how that story made me feel. Ah, I'm sorry. I thought you'd like the story with that sort of shock value since you're a boy. Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice as she smiled gracefully. After hearing all that, did you figure out what kind of stuff is in this storehouse, Kei-chan? See, look. Shion pointed out one of the walls vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was. Mere moments ago, they hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined up on the shelves. Ugh. All of those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use. They all suddenly took on a new meaning. And I couldn't help but let out a groan. At first they had looked like carpentry tools, like chisels or planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of those sorts of tools before. Yeah, they came up in a Japanese history textbook. Yes, on the page introducing the Kaitai Shinsho, or the new text on anatomy. These sorts of things. They're printed realistically in the literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. These strangely shaped tools, they're for dissection. Everyone knows that in the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissection tools they'd used at the time came up in textbook supplements. The things hung up on this wall all looked exactly the same as those. If you want a scarier way of looking at it, think of them as cooking utensils. Takano-san holding the lantern. The only light source in the room led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her whether I liked it or not. Look! Takano-san illuminated a coiled chain, which left a bigger impression than the other things we saw. The chain itself was nothing unusual, but further along it were metal fetters that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people. Kei-chan, look at that! Shion tapped me on my shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. My spine froze. My blood felt like it was turning into sherbet. as it crawled up my back. On each of the joints, there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread their arms wide and close them in. It's probably a chopping block. I think each dropped the sacrifice down to prep them for eating. The words chopping block sent a jolt through my body. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it, as though from a knife or a saw. They were the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show. They were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto this table, they probably wouldn't be able to move even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of those eerie cooking knives, lined up over there, stab them with it, and then you'd slice open their belly and dissect them. I'd heard the stories, but this is incredible. Okay, not gonna lie, I'm getting fucking hungry as hell right now. So yeah. Pizza time real fast. Alright, that should tide me over for the rest. Before coming in here, Shion had mentioned she had a good guess of what was inside, but it seems to have exceeded her imagination. There's still more. How about it? More fascinating than a wax museum, isn't it? Takano-san had this happy expression, like she was visiting a toy store for the first time. I don't get it. This Mio Takano person has nerves of steel. Are these bizarre, grotesque objects that fascinating to her? I, for one, was not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all this. That would be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san holding the lantern giving off such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly turned it off, then what would I do next? What would I do when, the next moment, everything went totally dark? That's why I was so scared. Takano-san had the only light, and anyway, I was scared. At some point, Shion had started holding onto my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally, here and now. Before we had even talked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt on my skin changed completely. These cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones, made to take away sacrifices' freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Those were just the things I understood. There were plenty of other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. At the very least, they were all completely different from the sort of clean, simple killing function of a katana. tools to kill people were obviously constructed in such a way that they could kill people. If that was the goal, then the person who you used them on obviously ended up dead. These kinds of tools, however, were different. These tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. The sacrifices could die during such a horrifying ritual process. That would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now in this moment did I fully realize just how terrifying and fearsome this difference was. People, you see, most of these wouldn't kill them if used properly. Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile. Burning at the stake, the famous method of execution for witches, will kill the person immediately. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Killing my friends, killing my family. When the body suffers extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup produces poison-like symptoms, and causes an immense shock to the victim. Though I suppose it's still very cruel compared to the guillotine. You have to wait far longer for that to happen. She described such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. Takano-san is a nurse. There's a saying that nothing can scare a doctor. I guess it's true. Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in ancient Rome where they would grill the person, just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire. To think the memories of what I went to a day camp with my family. To think the memories of when I went to a day camp with my family would come rushing back now of all times so vividly. That's what it was like. Apparently they wouldn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, even if they roasted one side of a person to a crisp for an entire night, they would still be conscious and able to speak fluently. That's insane. You'd grill someone the whole day and they'd still be conscious? It's said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Among them, there was one method where they would open the gut, pull out the intestines like sausages, pull them up with a winch, put them on public display. Shion was behind me, clinging to me, not just because she was scared. She was protecting her stomach. I would think someone with their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Actually, as long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them out, all the while the person is still unconscious. Or conscious. I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. It was like my organs were coiling up, just from Takano-san's stare. Though, pulling them out with a winch was rather exaggerating method. In a more barbaric way, they might slice open the gut, then cut the intestines out and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable that they did dreadful things like that too, isn't it? However, those being put to death are conscious. It must be far more terrifying than painful. She spoke with pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing trip. I heard Shion gulping multiple times near my ears. Perhaps Hinamizawa, or rather Onigafuchi village, did something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it? I wanted nothing more than to not hear anything at all. So why? Why only at times like these do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? Takana-san, having realized she scared Shion and I enough at this point, smiled soothingly. Then she turned on a heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, we'd get even further away from the light. Shion and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along on her field trip through the ritual storehouse. I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. See? This place is interesting, isn't it? She says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim light didn't change, but for some reason, it felt like I was able to see all of those horrible tools at once. Kei-chan? Look up. Shion stammering while grabbing the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. For cages, they were very small. Cramped cages just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no way you wouldn't get locked up inside. No, you wouldn't get locked up inside. It was another tool meant for restraining people, where the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. So many big and large things of all shapes were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides by the terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling were even hanging over our heads. There are many of these sorts of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. Kei-chan, is there something in there? A person? A mummy? Where? Shion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way you could tell if something was there in the first place. I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things? Shion didn't seem convinced. But without a means to confirm for ourselves, we couldn't do much but wonder. Maribata-kun, after seeing this, have you come to believe in all of it? The countless terrible rituals passed down in Hinamizawa? It's got nothing to do with believing in them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. So it's all well known the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't it have its own way, or own era of hellscape, like torturous feats? Didn't it have its own era of hellscape like torturous feats because of religious suppression and things of that nature? Hinamizawa itself had such a period. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of the witch hunts. That was all far in the past, no more than a series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen. That must have applied to Hinamizawa as well. Just as Europe had its Dark Ages, Hinamizawa had one too. That's how this should be taken. Even if these things all really happened in Hinamizawa, they're all long past. They don't have anything to do with the people living in Hinamizawa right now. Maribata-kun, you really do like this village. It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me his light smile. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survive into the present. You are, right? Shion suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today? What I am about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan. Because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. Shion flashed a devilish smile, as if reveling in the immortality of it, or immorality of it. Maribata-kun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Oyashiro-sama's curse, or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year. If it's a sacrifice, then will I be thrown into the Onigafuchi swamp while I'm still alive? It is tonight, you know. The night of the Oyashiro-sama's curse. Takano-san said, bringing her face right up close to ours. As if to say that she had the choice. She'd rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be implying. Takano-san took out a fairly worn notebook out of her paper bag. They began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them. And it had all manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about. What I'd really like to do is search through the National Library for newspapers from that era, but here it is. A photocopy of a page from a book was slid into the notebook, and it said, and it too was written in small, tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it. This is a story that actually happened. It was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown, mangled corpse, the victim of a murder in Onigafuchi village. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no mere rumor or fairy tale. We don't have most police documents from the time anymore, so it's all based on oral traditions and memories. See, it's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of a newspaper from the Meiji era. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji era, an old Onigafuchi village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head, and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off by the entire body. The skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult. Do you understand what it must have been like? I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. This was the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination. The victim was skinned while still alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally. The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divvied up and dissected even further, the epitome of inhumanity. I'm of the opinion that the entire process was performed while the person was still alive, though. What do you think, Mayabara-kun? She spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more brutal. Then, when I broke my gaze from Takano-san's, those strangely sharp, weird tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era with the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened here. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying. These tools. As if they had seen through my attempt to escape from them. They did nothing but ridicule me silently. So that creepy incident, was it, or what was it, in the end? The author said that regarding Onikafuchi Village's dreadful customs, they have survived into recent post-Meiji days, and that perhaps they lasted until around the beginning of the Showa period. This corpse, which at a glance had been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was the pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange, that it didn't feel real. Was this an extension of the legends too? It happened in the Meiji era, though, which was just too recent to be called a legend. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right here suggesting it. Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right? I mean, the Meiji era ended 100 years ago. That's all. Only 100 years ago. Besides, it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period. Like with the uproar around the post-war canned flesh incident. Oh, I apologize. That story was taboo, wasn't it? Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh? Takano-san, what did you just say? Canned flesh? Just then, there's a huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around to look. It was Tomitake-san, who had opened the door slightly. Did I startle you? Oh, Jiro-san, could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature. Takano-san held her stomach, and had to muffle her laughter as if she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over, and everyone's going down to the stream. The festival will be over within minutes. Oh, that's no good. Mayabara-kun is just a such good fuck. Oh, that's no good. Mayabara-kun is just such a good listener that I couldn't help but telling stories. I'd really rather not you mention me in a place like this. Jiro-san, could you wait out front? I want to take a few pictures. There are actually a lot of tools I'd like to bring home, but we obviously can't do that. Takano-san took the camera out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt. Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I did feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness. Then I thought about it, though. I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked in the darkness, none of them would hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if a phantasm were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. Hey, that sounds like me. Ugh. I'm not gonna lie though, all that did make me hungry. So I may be cutting this sometime soon. Hopefully the chapter ends soon. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in her strobe of camera flashes, and decided to leave the ritual storehouse. Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so their voices were very distant. The voices of the bugs, on the other hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place. How was it? Interesting? Tobitaka-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. He should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were. I should have kept watch outside with you, Tomitaka-san. Tomitaka-san's laughed so delightfully that it wiped away our dark feelings. How did you fare, Shion-chan? Were you scared? I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but seeing the real thing was powerful. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as how I was in a way worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. As Tomitaka-san grinned candidly, my mind, exhausted and locked up by nervousness, began to calm itself. Or locked up by nervousness. Was Takano-san an adult about this little expedition? You know how she seems like a child sometimes. I was worried she'd be way too excited. Both Shion and I laughed, and left that as our answer. Hopefully she was only looking at things. I'm worried she'll sneak something out of there, or mess with the ritual implement too much and break it or something. Right, that's quite possible. She is alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding it in her pocket. Yeah, I can see that. Shion said what I was thinking. You sure didn't break anything? You sure she didn't break anything? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Ah, I'm sorry. I ran out of film. Jiro-san, if you have any more, could I use some? Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomitaka-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature. I'm all out of spare film. Sorry about that. Jeez. You won't win any Pulitzer Prizes by not stocking enough film for an occasion, you know. For any occasion, you know. I suppose that's it, then. Tomitaka-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that, too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, then closed the door and turned to the heavy padlock we'd left beside it. Takano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, right? How rude. I'm trying to not be that childish. Kerklack. Tomitaka-san set the padlock to the way it was before. From a cursory glance, it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all. Okay, let's get over to the stream ourselves. If we don't at least set some cotton afloat, there won't be any point in coming to the festival. Tomitaka-san spoke brightly, urging us all on. Setting cotton afloat down the stream, I shook my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as to the double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse. Let's just leave it at that, alright? You saw enough to state your curiosity, didn't you? Oh, not at all. Everything I found only renewed my interests. All those stories and legends suddenly hold water. After today, I'm going to have to change the way I look at all this. Wow, she's truly indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else. Still interested in all this, through and through. Hell yeah, I'm on her side here. We descended the stone stairs, and all the people crowded the stream came into view. No offense, but can this end already? I enjoy playing, but I also am a stickler for schedules, so I'm already 20 minutes past. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out for them, then wishing upon the cotton and setting it down afloat down the stream. The festival was already over. Damn. I missed my chance to photograph the best part of the Wat Nagashi. Oh, but it's not too late. I'm going to go and set some afloat. Perhaps you could take pictures of me? Takano-san, with an impish expression, brought her head to Tomitake-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomitake-san, a man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman. Goodbye then, Maribara-kun. Shion-chan. We're going down to the stream. Would you like to come with us? No. I couldn't get in your way. Please take your time. Shion waved her hand to them with an expression just as impish as Takano-san's. Tomitake-san, on his part, seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps. I'm pretty worn out. Same here. I'm exhausted too. Kei-chan, this is your first Wat Nagashi, isn't it? You go on. Don't mind me. I'm tired, so I'd like to stay away from the crowd. Yeah, if we were to go now, we'd barely slip into the end of the cotton drifting ceremony. My sister and your friends might be looking for you too. Go on. Oh, yeah, right. They've been by themselves ever since we've got separated. I'd feel bad if they were looking for me. Then Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face, then put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep this a secret. My sister is the type that gets really jealous. If she knew I was hogging you this whole time, she'd never let me hear the end of it. So keep tonight a secret, okay? Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing. Not only because of that either. Considering what we were doing tonight, we really need to keep it a secret. Oh yeah, Shiro-sama's curse might happen tonight, and we four would be the prime candidates. The loosening threads of tension became taut again. Shion, however, burst out laughing. Alright, I'm going to get out of here before I run into my sister. I really am tired, so I don't have the endurance to put up with her anyway. I can't tell if you get along with her or not. We get along. Though as she said that, her vague expression explained that there was a lot of oddities in a relationship between twins. I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. Make sure you get along with her, okay? Right. Thank you kindly for your meddling. Okay, I'm gonna go. You should hurry up if you want to make it, Kei-chan. Wat Nagashi really is about to end. Shion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I returned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Wat Nagashi festival below me. Seriously though, what was that sound anyway? It was kind of unpleasant and creepy. Huh? What sound? The sound. You know, the banging noise. It was really loud, wasn't it? I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. I stared hard at her, too. Sorry, Shion. Could you give me the short version? What was making noise? Wait, Kei-chan. It didn't bother you? When all is said and done, it was like we were speaking two different languages. Shion, explain it to me without jokes, from the beginning, will you? What's this about a noise? Kei-chan, quit joking around too. Really, honestly, it didn't bother you? Neither of us was giving any ground, and both of us were staring at each other in disbelief. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of an actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held in the urge to shout at her, and ask politely one more time. I'm going to ask one more time, okay? I'll ask the questions. Shion nodded silently. Okay, here goes. Oh, I hit my mic, sorry. You said there was a sound. What are you talking about? The banging sound. It was like a kid jumping up and down on floorboards somewhere far away. It really didn't bother you? There was nothing to be bothered by. When did you hear this? I never heard anything. Wait, Kei-chan. Uh, are you serious? Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about it, but if Shion's acting like this, whatever it was, it gave me the creeps and sent me a chill down my spine. It was while we were looking around the inside of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san. About the time she started her stories, I think it was. Little by little, louder and louder, off and on. She heard a banging sound, like a child jumping on distant floorboards. That can't be true. Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening. Please don't try to scare me either, Kei-chan. It was like someone was making noise in time with talking to scary stories, and I was totally creeped out the whole time. A chill rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze over. You and Takano-san weren't paying any attention to it at all, so I pretended not to hear it either, but you heard it, right? It happened a bunch of times, and it was really loud. Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt whether that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. Hey, you've got to be kidding look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time, Shion had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion, who heard it, tremble? Or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? I don't know. I didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seems to have made that decision before I did. Ah. What are you laughing about? I really got you, Kei-chan. I was fibbing the whole time. What? Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was. It clapped me on the back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial, and actually made me feel worse. Then after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost like she was running away. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off and said she had been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. And now that I think back, Tomitaka-san said the same thing, didn't he? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Tomitaka-san said the most neutral party present at the time, had said he had heard something. Then, that noise. It was real? The banging sounds. The sounds as though a child was jumping up and down on some kind of floorboard far away. Oyashiro-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Tomitaka-san, Shion, and me. The bustling of people around, or sounded further away than I would have liked. The sound of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my head. Then all of a sudden, I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch. Keiichi, we found you! It was Rika-chan. I turned around, Mion and Rena were there too. Okay, hold up, I need another fucking bite of pizza then. Mion sighed and said, "Finally found you. Now we just need to find Satoko." Everyone got split up this year. We should, make sure we have somewhere to meet up afterwards next year. Oh. You're right. It's a festival, so we should all be together. I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a bit of guilt. Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing? Ah, yeah. I saw it all. You did a great... Fuck, hiccups. You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either. Yeah. That's right, Ika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake. I tensed up as I realized I'd made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped a hand on my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body. Did you do it too, Kei-chan? Did you get some cotton and send it down the stream? You haven't yet, right? Is what I could feel from her. You haven't yet, right? Is what I could feel her saying. Without the courage to tell anyone any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head. Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun? You should go now or it'll be over. It'll be over. Sorry. This is my first Watanagashi, so... I didn't really understand the rules and stuff. But that's right. I'm sorry. Mion took my hand, and we started walking down the stone steps. Hey, Kei-chan. What? Did you see Shion? My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. No? Oh well. I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike, though. It might have been you. You wouldn't have gotten that wrong. We're wearing different clothes. Huh? Oh. That's right. Mion's momentary silence was like a death grip upon me. I just can't do anything about that Shion. Well, it's her we're talking about, so we can just leave her be. Mion's expression returned to her former usual smile, and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. Oh, is that... Oh, please tell me that's the end. Oy. Oy. Alright, we can do those tips tomorrow. So, interesting. We've got a little more history, or I guess a lot more history on the village. And its past, and its origins, and some of the folktale. It's pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting. I like it. I find it enjoyable. Interesting, and... It totally didn't make me hungry. I mean, look. But, I mean... Is it strange that stories of, like, eating people legit made me hungry? Either a coincidence or not, but I'll let y'all decide. Anyways, I hope to see y'all tomorrow. In the meantime, have a good night, and take care. Stay